D, and that can be converted in response to an increase in parathyroid hormone. So I don't think that second level question actually is reasonable. I'll address whether 30 is necessary to prevent chronic diseases, and I'll show you some data on secondary hyperparathyroidism. So this is the data that my colleague produced that led to all the excitement about getting to 30 nanograms per ml. This is 25-hydroxy-D versus PTH. And the lower you go in PTH, the higher your level. Lower you go in 25-hydroxy-D, 50 nanomoles is 20 nanograms per ml, the higher your parathyroid hormone level is. But as you can see in that square, there are many people who have levels less than that do not have increased parathyroid hormone. And my good friend Chris Gallagher did a meta-analysis and looked at the relationship between parathyroid hormone and 25D. And he really was unable to find a strong inverse relationship. So I don't think that data, which was cross-sectional, really provides a lot of evidence to support that. I would agree that if the 25D gets below 15, that's suggestive that there is a deficiency and that PTH will increase. And I'll show you some data to support that. So up to date is one of the expert cards that we use to help physicians decide. And you can see here that even among the experts, and I'm the editor-in-chief for these sections on calcium and bone, really can't decide what's best. Let me see if I can help you. What evidence supports the use of calcium and vitamin D as a preventive treatment for osteoporosis? Because really the bottom line is in this business is vitamin D as to prevent bone loss and or prevent fractures. And despite lots of studies, there's really no evidence that vitamin D by itself increases bone density. And there's marginal evidence that calcium plus vitamin D has any impact either. In the Calgary study, they decided that, look, we should give more vitamin D. Maybe 1,000 is not enough. Maybe 4,000 is not enough. So they gave 10,000 units a day. They had 370 people. They randomized 100 each to 10,000 units a day, 4,000 units a day, or 400 units a day. And what they found was shocking. And basically, there was, by using a micro-CT analysis for microarchitecture, they actually found that the higher doses of vitamin D caused more bone loss, and that both 400 and 4,000 really had no impact. Abby Avenel in 2010 did a meta-analysis looking at vitamin D as a prevention of fractures and was unable to find anything. Similar meta-analysis was done by the Cochrane Group in 2012 and failed to show anything. And then I like this study just because they started at a baseline value of 50 nanomoles or 20 nanograms per ml. So they started right at that threshold that some people use. And they gave them 3,400 women in Finland, 800 units of D and 1,000 milligrams of calcium. And they showed absolutely no impact on fractures, even though the vitamin D level went up from 20 to 30 nanograms per ml. So despite that increase to the levels that some people want to get, there was no increase in fracture, reduction in fracture risk. But the seminal study is the VITAL trial, and this was done by Joanne Manson and her group, Meryl LaBeouf, published in New England Journal last year, that led to the debate and all the further controversy. And they had 25,871 participants, a large cross-section, included a substantial portion of African Americans. They treated half with vitamin D and half with placebo, as well as omega-3 fatty acid. It was a 2x2 design, and they followed them for 5 years. And this is the Kaplan-Meier curves for total fractures, and you can see that there's absolutely no difference between placebo and vitamin D. But more important for that is they did secondary analysis to look at some of the factors that might be involved to see if they could find a signal in some individuals. Well, there was no signal for sex. There was no signal for race, such that if you were African American, you did the same on placebo as you did on vitamin D. There's no impact of body mass index. You do the same whether you're treated with placebo or vitamin D. There was no impact of